it. Sorry, Spirit is doing a number on me today. Literally, Spirit is doing a number on me today. I really wasn't going to address this at all, but it is the lunar eclipse and the full moon on the 3rd of March, so I have to address it, okay? And I'm literally going to be online in March doing like a whole chunk of readings anyway, so I might as well address it. I might as well address the lunar eclipse and the full moon in Purva Phalguni, okay? Might as well address it because there's a lot to talk about. Now, before I get to the astrology, which I normally do first, I'm actually going to get to the tarot, right? I'm going to get to the tarot first because I want my readings to be intuitively led at this point, okay? I want them to be intuitively led. Now, as I was shuffling the cards, this was literally the first card that came out. And the Lovers card didn't just come out, it leapt out. Okay? I feel like, you know, because I'm a lover girl, right? Every time I see the Lovers card, I always hope it's about romance and stuff like that. And truth be told, it could be about romance. It could be about abundance. It could be about all of those wonderful things. But here's the twist now, right? There are going to be things, people and situations in our minds that we think we want to be in, but then real life will intrude, and whatever our second and third choice is, that's going to reflect what we, you know, that's going to be the closest to what we are actually looking for. It's not our first choice, it's our second and third choice, especially our third choice, that is going to be the most accurate when it comes to the love and abundance that we are looking for. Okay? There are going to be illusions swirling around what we think we want in love and abundance and beauty. And real life is going to intrude and be like, nah. There's also going to be illusions around, around what our core foundations are. And once again, Neptune is going to be like, nah. Right? When it comes to our core foundations, the thing that we have to work the hardest in, our hard work, our effort, our sacrifice, our spiritual devotion, we're gonna, again, our first choice is, you know, we're gonna think that our first choice is the one that actually resonates, but no, nuh-uh. Same thing. Whatever we think is a visual representation of what's in our heart, that is going to be wrong. In real life, is going to intrude second, third choice. This goes for romance, this goes for abundance, this even goes for hard work and career, this even goes for your spirituality, right? Anything that we think is our first choice is not our first choice. It's our second and third choice that we need to be looking at. That's what we need to be looking at. Not the first choice, because, like, you know, instinctively we're going to be like, yeah, that's going to be the thing. But no, it's not the thing. Your first choice is 9 times out of 10, your first choice is going to be wrong. That's something that you need to look out for. And this card reflects to me a time of balance, a rebalancing of energy and power, if you will, right? It's a rebalancing of all these things. So on top of that, we're likely to experience life changes that seem to be the opposite of who we are as people, but that will actually make us more alive. It will actually make us more alive, and it will actually make us more connected to what's within us, right? It's not going to be an easy path. There's a lot of false starts, there's a lot of redirections. But we are going to be led on a journey as to, you know, where our true joy lies. That's what we're going to be led towards. Okay, that's what we're going to be led towards. We're going to be led towards whatever it is that brings us our true joy in life. And the rebalancing, yeah, there's a rebalancing of power structures. There's a rebalancing of, you know, who holds the truth and who doesn't hold the truth. And this is what I have found with regards to the eclipse. Actually, I'm going to bring this up now because the 4 of Gabriel is here, and that doesn't apply to everybody. Actually, no, it does, in the sense that whatever you manifested the rest of the time during eclipse season, whatever you manifested the rest of the time during eclipse season is where you have to pay the piper, right? Eclipse season is where you have to pay the piper. And this is what I experience with people who find themselves having good luck during the eclipse. Those are the people who, whether they're good people, whether they're bad people, they are in line with their own integrity. If you find yourself kind of going through a lot of struggle a lot of the time, but then during eclipse season, everything seems to be working out well for you, it's because the rest of the time you were living in your integrity. You were living in your integrity, and that's exactly what's causing greater abundance in your life, greater contentment in your life, things going your way more often than, you know, it's like things are going your way, right? During eclipse season that don't go your way the rest of the time. And that's because you're being honest with yourself, and you're being honest with who you are as a person. I remember I was doing this event during eclipse season. It did not go well for me. And the reason it didn't go well for me is because I wasn't living in line with my integrity. I was sacrificing my integrity in order to be at an event and get paid. And I did that during eclipse season. Now, my eclipse season looks a little bit different. You look at my social media, I'm talking about all the stuff that's gone on in my life. But when it comes to eclipse season, everything's on the up and up. Why? Because I lived by my integrity. And this is the same for everyone. The more you live by your integrity when there's no eclipse going on, is the more lucky you are likely to be when there is an eclipse. Because society, when it functions well, is a lie. It involves people lying to each other. It involves people lying to themselves. It involves people being indirect. So when the eclipse comes, because of thousands of years of superstition, that's when everything is upended. That's when all the lies and everything else, that's when they're completely turned on their head. And, you know, everything goes haywire. Or at least for people who survive on a culture of lies and deceit. So if you have been living by your integrity, the things that you manifest, you're going to manifest like a lot of good things here. And again, always look for repeated attempts, second or third choices. Those are the ones that are most likely going to work out for you. Okay. Speaking of which, justice, okay? Whoo! The justice. Oh my gosh. Okay, so first off, justice is going to be really harsh for a lot of people. And not just for like the so-called bad people or the liars, but like for everybody, it's going to be really harsh. Justice is not going to draw any quarter here. If you fuck around, you're going to find out. Okay? With the words that come out of your mouth, you have to be straightforward. You have to be honest. And again, you have to be in line with your integrity. When it comes to the work that you do, when it comes to the effort that you make, when it comes to the devotion that you show your spiritual life, you've got to come with an open and honest heart. You don't have to be selfless. A lot of people think you have to be selfless, but no, you have to come as you are, right? You have to come as yourself. If you do not come as yourself, if you do not act in line with integrity, I won't lie to you. And I know I sound harsh, but this eclipse is going to whoop you. I'm not going to lie. This eclipse is going to whoop you. Because this lunar eclipses are not normally this harsh. They're not normally this, you know, it's usually just, you know, you got to get rid of some stuff. You got to get some stuff out of the way. No, this lunar eclipse is very, very intense. It's just as intense as the solar eclipse. And that's not normally been my experience with lunar eclipses at all. Lunar eclipses is just like a gentle, okay, you got to let this go, babe. Couple of things might go wrong, but it's like, yeah, you got to let this go. This lunar eclipse, not playing games. Not playing games. So you've got to make sure that before you say anything, remember second or third choice. The first thing that you're thinking is not the first thing that should come out of your mouth. That's the first thing. Second thing is you have to connect more with your emotions and your spirituality before you say something. But even then, second and third choice. Also, when it comes to your hard work, when it comes to the sacrifices you make, when it comes to your spiritual devotion, the answers that come to you as a result of that, again, second and third choice. Also, repeated attempts are what are going to work best for everyone. Repeated attempts. Do not try something once and think that that's the result you're supposed to get, right? So a couple of things are important here with regards to this card. Repeated attempts and integrity. If you skip either of these things, this eclipse is not going to be kind to you. And that goes to everybody. This is not about morality. This is not about like purity or whatever. Like if you don't act within your integrity, within your own internal compass, and if you do not think beyond your first choice and think beyond your immediate instinct, you're going to get caught short here. Be very careful. Okay. With the Chariot, like I said, it's a matter of integrity. If you've been living by your integrity, it's like, you know, there might have been some confusion pre-eclipse or something. Like whenever it wasn't eclipse season, there might have been some confusion. And then all of a sudden, when eclipse comes, like that light switches on and you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. This, whatever that thing is, whatever that ambition is, whatever that click is, that's gonna be your life for the next few years, at least for the next few years. So the Chariot card, it reflects ambitions and goals and strategies that are likely to be long term here, because there's a clarity that unlocks in your brain. But again, this is if you have integrity. If you don't have integrity and you're out of step with your immediate desires, or not immediate desires, but if you find yourself out of step with your deepest joys and your deepest passions and your deepest truths, again, you're going to get knocked off course. You're going to get knocked off course if you're not honest with yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. Again, it's not about right or wrong and this, that, and the third. It's about your sense of honesty, right? Nine of Gabrielle. Now let's see. Yeah, so this is going to be your life for the next few years. You've got that clarity. You've got that drive. You see, I'm going to have to talk to people with integrity for a minute. I'm going to have to talk to you guys. You don't have to be a TI for this, but you do have to be somebody with integrity to resonate with this. You will find an uphill battle because a lot of the rest of the world, they need to survive and operate on appearances. The appearances are going to be crumbling. Usually when society follows its Rahu, society usually gets on well because, like, again, like you're talking about Rahu, the illusions of Rahu are what bring people together. The truth separates, it splits apart, it splits things apart. But this is the thing. When Rahu unites people through illusion, it's going to go real fucking bad for a lot of people. And when it does, and people see that, you know, as somebody who lives by their integrity, when they see you thriving, it's not going to go well for them. It's going to rub them entirely the wrong way. My advice to you is to move in silence as much as you can. Let your actions do the talking. Don't say anything to anyone too much about anything good going on in your life, because their negativity will, you know, they will try to corrupt whatever you got going on. They're not going to stop you, but you know, if you don't use discernment, your journey will be that much harder if you don't use discernment. Okay, King of Gabriel. So this is the King of Wands. Beautiful energy. Beautiful energy. Okay, so I immediately have a good feeling about this card. Even though you're going to have to fight for everything that you have and use discernment and move in silence, basically, because your minds are going to be focused on the bigger picture, I feel like you will pick your battles better. You're not going to battle with everything and everyone. I feel like you will pick your battles. You will pick your struggles. You're not going to allow anything to take you off course, because again, it comes back to the Chariot. You know what you want to do. So your mind is going to be focused on the bigger picture, which is the best thing ever. It's the best focus you could have for your energy, because what happens when you're focused on that bigger picture? You attract other people in your orbit who are aligned with that bigger picture. It will affect the community around you. You living in your integrity and your purpose, it will affect the community around you. It will shift everything. Now let me see what it says here. It says, the search for meaning in life. Consider an alternative approach. Surround yourself with wise teachers or friends. A lot of you are going to be more discerning about who you invite into your orbit and who you invest your energy and time in. You're going to be very discerning. You're going to be very, like, again, this is for those of you living by your integrity. You're going to be very discerning about who you listen to, about who you allow into your circle, about who you take advice from. And that is what is going to really give you that endurance and that strength and that moral courage. Right? So this is, yeah, this is ethical courage, not moral courage. This is ethical courage. Moral courage is justice. It's the Justice card. This is more physical courage. Now, again, like I said before, there are other people not living in their integrity, seeing that you're living good and you're living okay, and you know, you're doing what you're supposed to. Like, these people are going to see you shine and they're not going to like it. You will have to be strong, but strength in this particular case, it means not changing who you are based on other people's reactions. It means staying yourself even when people try to throw you off from that. So there's going to be a lot of that for a lot of you that resonate with my reading. A lot of other people are going to try to throw you off from who you are, but you're not going to allow it. You will not allow it. Okay? Now, yeah, you're not going to allow it at all. And remember, the Strength card is Leo. Strength card is Leo. That's where Ketu is. It's in Purva Phalguni. Or at least I think it is. Hang on. I'm looking at the chart right now. Yep, Purva Phalguni. Last card is the Six of Ariel, right? Listen to me, man. Like, oh, that I feel like this is directly linked to this because they're both Ariel, right? Let's just have a pause, because it seems like you refusing to be taken out of yourself, it leads to you dedicating your time towards sharing things with people in meaningful ways, like sharing resources, sharing your time, sharing your money in meaningful ways that actually enhance both you and the people you're helping. Okay, so I feel like that's what's going on here. And also I feel like some of you will gain extra abundance, extra resources. You might find that extra abundance comes your way. Yeah, you might find that extra abundance comes your way, and extra money comes your way, right? And I feel like you will, yeah, long-term love is on the way. Like long-term love, long-term abundance, long-term everything. But it's not going to be in the way that you think is gonna manifest. It's gonna surprise you. It's gonna surprise you. So yeah. And the number 6, there's a rebalancing happening. There's a balance of structure. There's a balance of power dynamics here. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So let's just, I've got some oracle cards from Mark Kyle. Before I move on to the, actually, this is going to be the tarot reading. This is going to be the tarot portion. I'm going to do the astrology portion in another video. Okay. So before I end part 1, which is the tarot portion, let's get to the oracle cards, okay? So I want 3 cards. Oh, okay. Oh! Wow. I was going to pick 3 cards, but I ended up picking up 5, and that turned out to be a good that turned out to be a good idea. So let me add another card. Which one? So yeah. 6 now. Now it's 6. Pick 6 cards. So the first oracle card is, this is your life's purpose. Seems very evident right now. We got a whole fucking stellium in like Aquarius. We got a whole stellium in Aquarius. That's about destiny. That's about like karma. That's about all the karma that you're bringing in. All of that. So collectively, we're all going to be taken with what we're supposed to be doing on a wider scale, what our goals and aspirations are, what we do for our peers and our immediate community. We're going to be very taken up with that. Again, those who have been living by their integrity will find that there's a clarity there that wasn't there before. Okay? Focus upon divine and perfect health. I feel like some of you have concerns with your health. If you have concerns, address them as quickly as possible. I don't see that there's anything immediately wrong with some of you. I don't see that. But you don't want to wait for... Hold up, there was another card here. You don't want to wait for another, for something to actually be serious before you do something. I feel like some of you might have fears around your health that aren't necessarily the reality of the situation, but get yourself checked out anyway, and make sure you do whatever you need to do for your own health. I've got to wait for them to go downstairs because I want to continue. I don't know why these people are so loud when I'm filming. Anyway, I've got positive thoughts create positive results. This is the next card was supposed to be this, but it actually had this attached. Make of that what you will, okay? So yeah, as soon as I started talking about how your health is not as bad as you think it is, but check it out anyway, that's when this came up. Lead with joy. The more you enjoy yourself, the more laughter and the more joy and the more happiness you incorporate into your life, is the clearer that your choices will become. You will gain more clarity the more you laugh, the more you joke, the more you have fun. not only do you gain clarity, you gain resilience. And it really brings me back to this strength card here. Your resilience, your strength will come from joy, not the absence of it. That's why you remain yourself in spite of what other people try to do to you. It's about joy. And a lot of people who are not evolved will try to take somebody else's joy. Do you understand what I mean? So, yeah, positive thoughts create positive results. I do see a lot of you connecting with your personal joy, and that's what's going to save you. K2 is in Leo. What saves you is you draw from the well of joy and pleasure and comfort and luxury. You draw from that well in order to nurture your ambitions, nurture your goals. Okay? So it says here, your children are watched over by angels. And yeah, that's your inner child. K2 and Leo, that's your inner child. That's what's going on here. Your inner child has divine guidance all over it. Your inner child has divine guidance. Your relationships are very well protected as well. Like, it's either your relationships are really protected, or you're going to attract really good relationships. But again, it's not about first choice, second or third, right? Oh, led me right to this. Whoo! A lot of you are going to have a very good eclipse season. Again, especially those who are living by your integrity, you're going to have a really good eclipse season. You might find, again, pay attention to second or third, but it's like, it's like there are so many good outcomes to so many things that you're doing. If I were you, I'd capitalize it and maximize the benefits. Or is it maximize or maximize? It's maximize the benefits. You want to maximize the benefits of what you receive. Enjoy your spoils, but don't take those spoils for granted. Maximize it. Take advantage. Okay? Maximize your joy. Draw from the well of joy. K2 does not want to deprive you of anything. K2 has a well that it wants you to draw from. K2 in Purva Phalguni wants you to connect with your joy, wants you to connect with your luxury, but it wants you to connect with the joy and luxury that means the most to you, that you hold the most sacred. K2 wants you to be happy. Don't ever, wherever K2 is, K2 wants that for you. K2 says, look, I'm a well, empty me. K2 wants to be emptied. So when you connect with your joy and when you connect with the collective seventh house, you're emptying K2. This is what K2 wants. K2 wants you to empty it. Okay? That's what stops K2 from emptying you. Like, K2's like, don't fill me up, empty me. Take it. Take it. I want you to take it. Yeah? So, when you go by your K2, magic happens. I feel like for a lot of Leos, this should be a disadvantageous time. But I feel like for a lot of Vedic Leos, especially for Maga and Purva Phalguni, I feel like things are going to work out very well for you during this eclipse. I'm not going to lie. Okay, and you know, a lot of people think that, you know, because K2's there, it's supposed to work out. It's not supposed to work out for like Leos, but it really depends on the Leo. Like, if you understand K2 for what it is, like, that's a huge blessing to a lot of Leos if they know how to use it right. And I feel like a lot of Leos, Vedic Leos, sun, moon, rising, you might find, you might find there are a lot of blessings there. ironically, the world is going to be disillusioned with you and disillusioned with what you got going on. But then something, it's like you get the grace of God and that restores everything. That's what's going to happen to a lot of Leos here. Okay. It's, yeah, favorable outcome. And it's not just Leos, it's anybody who's in line with their integrity. Like I said, like K2 is truth. K2 is moksha. Moksha is about truth. It's about what you hold sacred. It's about what you believe to be true. Bringing me to this, innocence. Again, it's important for us to be not necessarily morally in the right, but have integrity again. That's the key to our innocence and our purity. When we, this keeps talking to me. Every single time I talk about this keeps talking to me. Yeah, this card, the favorable outcome, keeps talking to me. So yeah, when you stand by your purpose and you stand by your integrity, like, again, good things will happen. And I feel like a lot of people will connect with that, which leads to this, self-respect. So I feel like, you know, there will be an increased self-respect for those who are in line with their integrity. For those who don't necessarily fit in the rest of the time, there will be an increased self-respect, an increased clarity of purpose. Coming right back to this, because this keeps talking. This keeps talking. The favorable outcome and the Lover's card, they keep talking. Integrity, it redresses the balance of everything. Watch out. Okay. So that's the tarot reading for the lunar eclipse and the full moon in Purva Phalguni. I'm going to go over to the astrological portion, and I'm going to go into the astrological signs while I do it. So if you want to know about the 12 signs, stand by for my astrological reading on that. That's it. That was for the lunar eclipse and full moon in Purva Phalguni for the tarot cards. I am Empress Justice, and I will see you in the next reading. Peace and blessings. Bye bye, my darlings.